The Hollywood writers' strike is officially over. What happens now? The Unity game engine unveiling a new pricing model, Microsoft's Windows OS receiving a big AI-powered update, Amazon unveiling a suite of new hardware, and a nutrition label is coming to Razer's computer mice. This and a whole lot more taking over the headlines of the past 7 days. I'm Jason Grewal, and this is The Fresh Wire. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. I am here and I am ready to roll. It is 10:29 p.m., September 26th, 2023, and I'm going to try to keep this shorter than usual. I know my last episode actually exceeded a full hour. I'm going to try to condense as much as I can. So, I'm going to lay back on a few topics here and there, but one thing I will not lay back on is some crazy news. It just came in a few hours ago from when I was recording this, so I'm glad it happened just now. The writer's strike is over. The Writers Guild of America has voted to lift the strike order after a full 148 days. The board of the WGA West and Council of the East voted unanimously to lift the strike order as of 12:01 a.m. Pacific Time Wednesday, so in about an hour and a half from now. I'm not Pacific Time. My bad. It's 3:01 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm in the Eastern Time Zone. So this follows a tentative agreement on the new contract with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP. So writers can go back to work as of tomorrow, Wednesday, even before the final ratification vote, which will be held October 2nd to October 9th, where the WGA will hold member meetings on both coasts, in person and on Zoom, to discuss the details. And it looks like it's likely to be ratified by strike-weary members. The complete 94-page contract and summary of the new terms were released by the WGA, including aspects that the WGA wanted, including limitations on how far AI use can go, like AI cannot write or rewrite literary material, and AI-generated material cannot be considered source material under the MBA, meaning it can't be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights. It also includes a new requirement for minimum staff levels in TV writers' rooms, gains in compensation, and improvement payment terms for screenwriters and protections for the use of AI, as I just mentioned. It says the writer can choose to use AI when performing services if the company consents and provided the writer follows applicable company policies, but the company cannot require the writer to use AI software like ChatGPT when performing services. Okay. Overall, great unanimous decision. It comes 2 days after the writers and Hollywood studios concluded talks for a 3-year deal 2 days ago, so September 24th, following a marathon negotiation session. It's overall fantastic news. The writers have been picketing for months, and they will now be going back to work. Fantastic. Overall, great. Now, this isn't the end of the full Hollywood strike. SAG-AFTRA, which includes the actors, is still picketing, awaiting its turn to return to the negotiating table as its strike has exceeded 75 days, so about half as long. Whether or not this will push forward an agreement between SAG-AFTRA and the AMP-TP is unknown. It's possible, but this does mean that the strike, in terms of picketing and not going to work, is over. And I would say, here we go, back to some lovely Hollywood content in the coming months and years. But because SAG-AFTRA is still on strike, it's too early to say for certain, how that will end up. But this does mean, like, for example, talk show hosts should be able to resume production. Some shows that maybe just needed rewrites or maybe had actors that weren't covered by SAG-AFTRA, well, they'll be able to continue forward, but otherwise, good stuff. On a happier note, continuing the trend, it's just something funny that I noticed because as I was at work Sunday, NFL games were in full swing, and it's just funny, the whole Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chiefs situation. So I did want to mention that NFL Sunday ratings hit a whopping 24.3 million viewers, in part, I guess you could say partially, with Taylor Swift. Funny enough, and other people have mentioned this because as I was at work with the Kansas City Chiefs game going on, halfway in, they cut the game and went to the Arizona Cardinals and I think Dallas Cowboys game because it was more competitive. That's actually what they said. It's hilarious, and I just wanted to mention it because it's just super, super funny. And we're going to move away from Hollywood discussions and whatnot. That's the main focus. Not much else can compete with that, and I'm trying to condense this episode. So, very tech-oriented episode today. I've got a lot of topics that have went on, and we're just going to go into something that I'm going to try my hardest not to be political. The FCC has announced plans to resurrect net neutrality rules. FCC, Federal Communications Commission for the U.S., they plan to reinstate landmark net neutrality rules meant to guarantee fair access to the internet and its formation 5 years after it was repealed in 2018. So this is big news, very big news. It was around 2015 or so the FCC put forward net neutrality, balancing, the not having restrictions pretty much for the internet service providers. Websites can't. With net neutrality, websites can't be slowed down or boosted artificially from the ISP. Well, that was something that was pushed by Democrats. So when then President Donald Trump came in and it was brought into control by Republicans, they repealed it, and it's been years since. And a new person for the Federal Communications Commission was passed, a new Democrat, so it's back to Democrat majority. This is one of the first things they're pushing forward. Big news. This is pretty big, and I'm saying this is very tech because I remember when it was there was an attempt, that led to it being repealed. There was massive backlash and a lot of people online talking about it, how it could be devastating, and well, it went forward. With all the controversy, and it looks like an initial vote in October is expected to take place. So this is something I will keep my eye on, and in future episodes as this progresses forward, I will definitely continue talking about it. What I also talked about before, and what may have a final update, the Unity game engine. They had a lot of drama going on with it, from this new runtime install fee that was ridiculous. Then they said, oh, we're going to revamp it a little bit. Don't worry about it. Well, they announced what they're going to do, and it's a drastic departure from what they initially announced. Now, users on the Unity personal subscription plan will not be charged the new fee, and Unity will increase the revenue cap on games made with that plan to $200,000. So that's good. And any game made with Unity that makes less than $1 million in 12 months will not be subject to the fee. So if you made under $1 million each year, like you're maybe a smaller developer that hasn't gone viral or anything like that, well, you're in the clear. So there's that. And they are also changing what games can be assessed with the new fee. It originally applied to all games that met specific download and revenue thresholds, applying to games both in development and already released. So if you had a game released years ago that ran on Unity, well, suddenly you were applicable to this as well, which is just crazy to think about. But now that's no longer a problem. Unity is saying that the fee will only apply to games made with the next version of Unity, expected to launch sometime in 2024. It will only apply. President of Unity Create said the runtime fee policy will only apply beginning with the next LTS version of Unity shipping in 2024 and beyond. I'm assuming LTS is long-term support. That's what Ubuntu, the Linux OS, that's very popular. They have something like that as well, so you don't have to worry about getting some crazy new features every year. You can just get stability and bug fixes, and that's that. Reliability. He also said, your games that are currently shipped and the projects you are currently working on will not be included unless you choose to upgrade them to this new version of Unity. So, if you upgrade to the new version of Unity, then you'll be applied to it. But I guess if not, and you stick with, this year's version of Unity, then you, never will have to worry about this. So that's good. Very good. And Unity is also addressing some developer backlash, reinstating the ability for developers to use whatever terms of service that corresponded to their version of Unity. In 2019, Unity stated that it would allow users to use the terms of service that corresponded with whatever version of Unity a developer was working with. So, assuming you never updated your version of Unity that you worked with and just worked with that, newer terms of service didn't apply to you. Unity backtracked on those statements, deleting the TOS website and changing it where developers would be subject to runtime fees before the fees were even announced. So they're changing that. So good. Overall, big win. But I would not be surprised at all if people still decided, screw it, I'm not going to use Unity. I don't personally know, besides Unreal. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's anything even close to this in other competing engines, including Unreal Engine, but this is still really bad, and seemed like it was going to be something that would have killed the engine. I mean, it still could. It's really bad that this all happened to begin with. Unity acknowledged poor communication. The person said, I want to start with simply this: I am sorry. We should have spoken with more of you, and we should have incorporated more of your feedback before announcing our new runtime fee policy. I mean, the feedback would have universally been, no. Why more fees? That doesn't make any sense. These are unnecessary. It doesn't make any sense. They agreed to it. That's that. The feedback would have been unanimously against this. So I don't even know why. Incorporated more of your feedback. Like they got any feedback at all. I don't think anyone wanted more fees in general. So big win, especially for people that are working on Unity games or have already released them. And yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised if, games that were going to be for Unity will run a different engine, like Unreal. What's also unreal that it took so long for this to happen, but will finally be rolling out, is that Meta, the company behind Facebook and Oculus and Threads, says separate account deletion for Threads will be rolling out by December. Previously, if you wanted to delete your Threads account after making it, well, the whole thing with Threads is that you connected to your Instagram account, and as a result, if you wanted to delete your Threads account, you also had to delete your Instagram account, which was a big problem and likely led to a lot of people not wanting to make a Threads account because, if a lot of people, probably had a lot behind their Instagram account. I mean, it's been out for over a decade at this point, Instagram. I think I made my personal account in 2013? Yeah, 2013. I think my first post that I made was how I was thrilled to have seen Iron Man 3 opening night. I don't know why that's stuck in my head, but that was the first post I made, 2013. So, big deal that, if you got into Threads, you're like, this isn't for me. You couldn't delete it, which, could be not good for privacy or just, removing yourself from wherever you can if you decide to, but maybe wanting to keep your Instagram or Instagram private at least. So, Meta's Chief Privacy Officer for Product, Michael Michel space Protti, Michael Protti. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. He said, technically, it was extremely challenging to allow deletion of a separate Threads account without also deleting your overall Instagram account out of the gate. So we paid particular attention to ensuring the user could still exercise the deletion rights by deactivating the account to sort of hide all content, setting it to private, or deleting individual threads. Meta's continuing to work on integrating Threads with the Fediverse, which is services like Mastodon uses, another rival to X, formerly Twitter. It's actually what's called now on the App Store, from what I heard. X, in parentheses, formerly Twitter, because their engagement and people installing the app dropped to the floor. Where's Twitter? Gone. Lost. Abandoned to the wind. Now, Threads' popularity has dwindled. Keeping that in mind, they had a massive explosion at first and has dropped. An analysis published by Insider Intelligence indicated that Threads has 23.7 million monthly active users in the U.S. and ranks below Reddit and X in terms of user base. Understandably. I think they had 100 million in July. Very quick. I think it was the fastest social media platform ever to hit 100 million that fast. But I'm, I still have it installed. I still open it from time to time. I still very, very rarely use X. So, no big deal. I hope it continues to succeed. Competition is A-okay sometimes. What's also A-okay sometimes, AI, of course. And Microsoft had a big reveal of new hardware and the next big update for Windows 11. I would talk about the new hardware, but it's, new laptops here and there, new Surface products. They've known to be generally pretty reliable, so it's fine that they're releasing. No big deal. Amazon's is a big deal, but I'll talk about that later. Windows 11, just today, released its next big update with Copilot, which is, if you know about Bing AI, the Bing chat, well, now it's integrated into Windows 11 for, I think, everyone. I had it a little early. I only run the normal version of Windows 11 on my laptop for safety purposes. On my desktop, I actually have the beta, which I found to be overall reliable. And, it's pretty A-okay. But now, Copilot, pretty cool stuff, coming to Windows 11 in general. AI-powered Paint. AI updates to Paint and Snipping Tool. Snipping Tool is pretty cool. If you don't know fully Copilot, it's going to be it's an AI-powered digital assistant, which is not the first time some of this has come around. The annoyance when Windows 10 released was Cortana and how deeply integrated Cortana was. Well, Cortana is virtually gone, and I guess this is the next generation version of Cortana. I mean, if you know Google Assistant, if you know Siri, if you know Alexa, gonna say it, Alexa for Amazon, then yeah, it's just like that. But Copilot, all the ChatGPT beauty and glory. But yeah, with Paint, there's gonna be an AI image generator where you'll be, I guess, given credits. It seems 50 credits are available for initial use of Paint Co-Creator, where you can use AI to, I guess, improve or create your own art and these sort of things. It looks like Paint has gotten some pretty big upgrades. I heard there's layers now, which is pretty cool. The Co-Creator, where you can input a text prompt, select a style, and generate a unique image. That's what Yusuf Mahdi, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, head of consumer marketing at Microsoft said. Not available to everyone yet, but there's a wait list available for Windows insiders, and all users will get it in the coming weeks. Snipping Tool's AI upgrades come in the form of text extraction and redaction. You can copy text from an image now, and similar to what you can do on your smartphone. And you can automatically redact and hide emails and phone numbers from images as well. Automatically. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's definitely AI. You can blur out backgrounds, improved Windows backup. Apparently, the AI-enhanced versions of Paint, Photos, and Snipping Tool will not be available immediately if you're a general user. They'll be available in maybe the weeks and months. They'll start rolling out now to a small percentage of consumer users. I haven't tried this out yet, but I definitely will. I don't normally do stuff like that. And if you're a PC gamer, an interesting addition that's been talked about before, native RGB lighting controls known as dynamic lighting. It will control RGB lights, the OS, using the Open HID lamp array standard. The companies that have partnered with Microsoft on this new feature include, so if you have stuff from these companies, be prepared. This could be something interesting where you won't have to use their third-party app anymore. Acer, Asus, HP, HyperX, Logitech, Razer, and Twinkly, which I think handles like outdoor lights. Twinkly? I think they're the ones that made the smart Christmas tree. Interesting. So the plan is that Windows will eventually be able to control all this RGB light, including your keyboard, monitor case, fans, anything else, without a third-party app like Razer Synapse or whatever Corsair has, the iQ or something. Personal experience, this would be fantastic. And yeah, I mean, this is now all coming through. You can get the update through Windows Update. But you'd have to get the latest updates as soon as they're available. And if not, you may have to wait until the monthly Patch Tuesday in November. So if you want it soon, if you want it now, go ahead and get it. I recommend it, as always, getting the latest updates. macOS users, I'm sorry. You all just got a brand new OS, Sonoma. Enjoy that. Also, if you're an Amazon fan, you'll be enjoying a lot of stuff. Amazon had their big product launch event earlier this month, and they unveiled a lot of stuff. Generative AI with Amazon's Alexa, brand new Echo Frame, so glasses with built-in Alexa, Arrow's new Max 7, which is a router with Wi-Fi 7 support. Now, you might have Wi-Fi 6 or 6E. You might not even know what it is. Wi-Fi 7 is the newest standard for Wi-Fi technology, and I guess it was finalized. I'm starting to see routers pop up with Wi-Fi 7. I don't even have Wi-Fi 6E on my router. That's just crazy ahead of time. It's also several $100s, so of course, if you want something cheap or mainstream with Wi-Fi 7, wait a little longer. I would understand. Smart speakers getting some upgrades and new Fire TV sticks that are going to be more improved than ever before. And yeah, it's overall it's always big when Amazon announces all of their stuff because they're very into the smart home idea. So they go all out with some aspects, like, they have a Fire TV soundbar, which is a pretty compact one that I guess has Fire TV built in. And generative AI for Alexa means it's going to be comparable to Bing Chat AI, Google's Bard, ChatGPT. It's finally going to catch up. And I think this was the last one that needed it. I think to start it in the coming weeks, you're going to have to say, Alexa, let's chat or something like that. Definitely look into that, but pretty exciting stuff. I only have the Echo Frames and actually a spare TV. I know it sounds really weird. Why a spare TV? Because you never know what might happen. And it's a spare, smaller TV. It has Fire TV built in. So I'm not really in the ecosystem, but for people that are, congrats. Have fun with that. Stuff will start releasing, I think, in October. I saw some pre-orders saying it's releasing in October. I think the sticks, for example. And also to have fun with, a $299 folding chair. Logitech is selling its new Playseat Challenge X, a racing sim cockpit that can fold away when you're not using it. I just saw this. I was like, very interesting stuff. Chair that folds as like this. It looks nearly identical to the non-collab Playseat Challenge Black ActiveFit, which is about $70 cheaper. Logitech version comes with a gear shift mount, an optional extra, as well as a tilting pedal mount that doesn't appear to be on the regular model. It also has an extra handle. Well, if you're into racing simulators, this looks like something that could be pretty interesting, but there are cheaper alternatives. Maybe not a budget option for many people, but I saw this. I was like, this is really weird. Let me talk about this for a minute because I'm not really into racing sims. I like Forza. I like Gran Turismo a bit. Obviously Mario Kart, but that's not a racing sim. That's just a racing time to have fun. But what I'm about to say is not fun, and I honestly probably should have attached this to the Amazon thing from before, but I have to say this. Amazon will, starting next year, run ads on Prime Video shows unless you pay extra. Deadline report said that Amazon has announced plans to begin rolling out ads for Prime Video shows and movies next year. The company said it's going to have meaningfully fewer ads than linear TV and other streaming TV providers. What exactly does that mean? Well, I can assume, but I shouldn't have to. Meaningfully fewer ads than linear TV and other streaming TV providers. Linear TV is like 4 minutes. It can be 5 minutes of ads. That's awful. And other streaming TV providers, I mean, Hulu, it's like 1:30 to 2 minutes on average for their breaks. So if it's less than that, that's not horrible. But this whole time, people being used to Prime Video being ad-free for the most part is, this is going to be throwing people off. But of course, there's an option to get it for ad-free, otherwise known as exactly how you're watching it now. In the US, it'll be an extra $2.99 a month, in addition to the $14.99 a month that customers currently pay for Amazon Prime, or $8.99 a month for those that only subscribe to Prime Video. Ad-supported tier is not coming at a discount. So the price you're paying now is the price you'll pay for ad-filled videos. But if you want to keep the services you have now, you're going to have to pay more. Sounds like what happened with Max, although they just recently said, oh, until February, now you get our new $10 sports tier for free. But it's still going to cost more overall when I decide, hey, I actually want to keep 4K videos. Because when they renamed themselves to Max, they also increased the prices of all their services akin to how they were before. If you wanted 4K video is $15. Now it's going to be $20. Or you could stay with 15 and get 1080p video. It's stuff like that that's just really annoying. And looks like Amazon's hopping onto the train. Now, luckily, I don't really watch Prime Video a whole lot. I saw some shows, movies here and there from them before. Invincible, absolutely recommend that show. Season 2 is coming in, I think, November. I'm extremely excited, even though it's only the first half. The second half's coming next year. Come on. It's been 2.5 years. Anyway, but I guess if you want to see how ads are like, you can check out Thursday Night Football that Amazon has had access rights to since last year. This article from Polygon says, it's just like a regular football game with one weird quirk. Amazon doesn't allow beer commercials. That's very interesting. The company guidelines bar promoting alcohol on its platforms. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. So, yeah. So keep that in mind entering next year when you're watching Prime Video, and suddenly there's a strange little ad on some new Amazon service. I'll just prepare for that, unless you want to pay $3 more, even if you pay yearly for Prime like I do. Spotify. I don't even know how to transition to this, but I'm just going to say it because you may be listening to this podcast on Spotify. I appreciate it if you are, or in general, wherever you're listening to this. Thank you. Spotify's new social listening feature will let you, quote, jam with 32 friends. It will allow both free and premium users to join a real-time listening session and add songs to a collaborative playlist. This sounds fantastic. Spotify premium subscribers exclusively can start and invite others to a jam session. So if you're a free user, but you've got friends that are premium, welcome aboard. Jam participants will be able to select the device they want to play the music from if they wish to listen in remotely and can see who added specific tracks. Oh, this sounds actually pretty exciting. It's rolling out today. It rolled out today. Spotify Jam. I should check it out. I don't know who I'd be using it with, but hey, that's pretty cool. Premium subscribers hosting a session can manage who's in the jam, track order, and remove any songs from the lineup by default. Hosts can also enable guest controls to give other participants the ability to remove tracks or change the song order. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. I'm very excited. I'm definitely gonna check this out. Definitely gonna check that out, and maybe you should too if you use Spotify, whether it's free or premium. If you have friends that use premium, well, it could be an interesting, fun time if you're chilling with friends and you want to add stuff and then listen to it in real time. What's definitely interesting is Razer is promising to add this new, quote, nutrition label to its gaming hardware. Now, obviously, not nutrition for your body, but nutrition for the world. You'll be able to see the carbon footprint, water, mineral, and fossil usage of your new mouse or keyboard or laptop even, right on the box, starting with the new mouse Death Adder V2X Hyperspeed. I actually don't know. It's Death Adder. Will Powers, a Razer spokesperson, says it will be a slow rollout, understandably, as Razer has to get UL Eco Logo certification on each and every product, but the process is now being baked into R&D going forward. So this example image of that new mouse shows that it's UL certified. It shows the amount of carbon footprint along with water footprint, mineral usage, fossil resource. Good stuff. Hashtag go green with Razer on the box as well. Cool stuff. I might plan to buy some new Razer stuff. I currently use a Razer mouse and keyboard. I've had them for, the mouse, I think, since 2020. Fantastic. Still runs. I'm using it right now, over 3 years later. 3 or 2. I can't remember. I mean, it's just fantastic overall. The keyboard, funny enough, I think it's the Black Widow V3 Pro. It's a wireless one, mechanical, runs great. Their new one, the V4 Pro, whatever it is not even wireless. So that's unfortunate. The successor to my wireless keyboard is a wired keyboard. Good stuff. I like wireless. But yeah. So little funky stuff. So with iOS or iPad OS 17, you're now able to get a little more creative with the USB Type-C port on some iPads. One app got straight into it, the Orion Video System app, turning your iPad into an HDMI monitor with retro vibes. I actually don't know if I don't think I covered this. The free Orion app by the makers of the Halidi camera app allows you to connect HDMI devices like video game consoles or maybe even your computer to an iPad for viewing using a video capture card connected via USB-C. So, this example image shows if you hook up your Nintendo Switch and you connect it to a capture card because it's going to output, it needs power, but it outputs with HDMI. Well, then, because it's docked, then you connect that capture card up to your USB Type-C iPad, same port that's in the brand new iPhone 15, and it'll work like a dream. It's free to download. Not being sponsored, this is just actually pretty impressive. iPad OS 17 being able to do stuff like this, finally, I guess. I'm not sure if Android tablets can even do this, but I did hear that the upcoming version of Android 14, will allow being able to use your phone as a webcam. So this whole sort of connecting devices that you can use them for other purposes, hey, bring it on. Get more use out of these devices. I'm all for it. So yeah, one example is you could hook up a Switch to your iPad and warp that Metroid Prime Remastered game back to how it looked on your parents' basement TV in 2002. And that's because for $4.99, there's an upgrade to Orion Pro, allowing you to get, quote, I don't know why I said that, quote, AI-powered 4K upscaling for video inputs. So I guess it's going to only receive 1080p, but AI-powered, I'm going to assume, tries to make it look like, it looks a little better. I don't even think the displays are 4K, so that's weird. A CRT filter for old school gaming and VHS playback vibes and picture adjustment capability. The article I'm reading, by the way, is The Verge. So, their wording may be a little different from like official press releases. But yeah, I mean, and it's explained through USB video class or UVC support being introduced on the iPad with iPad OS. And it's something that's, I guess, capable with the USB-C ports, not the one with Lightning. So if you had like maybe an older iPad or a cheaper entry model, you're out of luck. Otherwise, if you have the Type-C port like a recent iPad Pro, then enjoy that. It's free to download and, could be just something to have in general. OpenAI has released the third version of DALL-E. So DALL-E, back with the first version a while ago, 2021, it was very early in terms of this AI art generating. And admittedly, it did not look that great. It was constantly packed with memes just showing how ridiculous and low quality it looked. And then the following year, DALL-E 2 came around, and it genuinely blew everyone's minds. OpenAI really did a lot in 2022. They started off with DALL-E 2 blowing people's minds, and then ended the year with ChatGPT. They really went from laughingstock almost to, wow, this is revolutionary. But yeah, DALL-E 3, a OpenAI researcher said, understands context much better than DALL-E 2, and it will be integrated with ChatGPT. Now people can ask ChatGPT to come up with a prompt, and the chatbot will write out a paragraph for DALL-E 3 to follow. Usually, DALL-E works with longer sentences better than shorter ones, so this is good. You could probably already do this to a degree anyway, but now it's going to be more natively integrated. This new version will be first released to ChatGPT Plus and enterprise users next month, followed by research labs and API services in the fall. OpenAI plans to stagger the release of DALL-E 3, but did not commit to when a free public version will be released. So if it's going to be research labs and APIs in the fall, I'm just going to say it, prepare for this to be public next year. When? No clue. Also, random thing, but DALL-E 3, rest in peace, Electronic Entertainment Expo. I don't know when or if they're ever going to come back. Huge thing for video gamers around the country or world even, when they were popping up each summer. But developers have moved on from it since COVID hit. Or even 2019, I don't think Sony went to... Well, I think Sony did 2019, but they weren't going to do 2020. But COVID hit anyway, so it doesn't matter. Speaking of video gaming, we're going to have a small little video game section here. Video game actors have voted yes to strike if needed. The Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA, video game performers are coming into negotiations for a new contract that addresses wage increases, AI use, and ensures basic health and safety precautions like breaks and stunt coordinators on set. So Good. They voted to yes to strike if necessary. So while they did vote yes, a strike is not confirmed to happen, but it does let the 10 video game companies bargaining with the union know that they're serious about a fair contract. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Union is looking to secure fair minimum contracts for the 2,600 or so performers that work under the Interactive Media Agreement each year. Vote was open to all active SAG-AFTRA members, all of whom would be impacted should they choose to act for a video game. 10 video game companies, including Activision Blizzard, which will probably be soon bought by Microsoft, Electronic Arts, and Epic Games will kick off negotiations once again from today to Thursday. And Audrey Cooling, representing the video game companies, said, quote, tentative agreements, unquote, have already been reached for more than half of the Interactive Media Agreement contract proposals. But SAG-AFTRA says several more issues remain. AIUs, very similar to the Writers Guild and the SAG-AFTRA general unions. And also to keep in mind that video game performers includes voice actors and motion capture performers, among other roles. So, very curious what will happen out of this. And if it becomes a strike, I will absolutely continue to cover it. It will fill a hole that I hope does not get filled, but you never know. Another hole that Microsoft's looking to fill is completing the Activision Blizzard deal where they acquire Activision Blizzard. They got preliminary approval from a UK regulator. The United Kingdom, I think, is the last country in the way of finalizing this deal and having Microsoft acquire the rights of Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo, Call of Duty, Candy Crush Saga. These will all be Microsoft's once this is finalized. And the UK's Competition and Markets Authority have given preliminary approval for Microsoft to proceed. They originally blocked the acquisition over cloud gaming concerns, but Microsoft recently restructured the deal to transfer cloud gaming rights, which is massive cash cow, massive. They're dominant in that with the cloud gaming through Xbox's Game Pass and whatnot. Well, they transferred the cloud gaming rights a while back for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. In a memo, Xbox boss Phil Spencer called it a, quote, positive development and a welcome indicator that our hard work is bringing us closer to our goal. And this just comes days after the whole massive leak fiasco happened with Microsoft accidentally unveiling their next refresh for the Xbox consoles and what they plan. Beyond that, I covered that in my last episode, the biggest Xbox leak in history. Definitely make sure to check that one out. This is a preliminary decision ahead of final approval. So the CMA has said it's opened a consultation to gain third-party feedback on Microsoft's proposed remedies until October 6th. A final decision is expected before October 18th, which is another day. The period is meant to address a few remaining concerns that the CMA has with the deal. The UK is the final regulatory hurdle for Microsoft's unprecedented deal. Very interesting stuff. I will cover when this happens, of course. And if it does, it's going to shake up the video game industry as a whole. I will be very intrigued with what happens with that. And now, just a taste of VR. I'm not really going to talk about Meta and Oculus or whatnot because while a few things were leaked here and there, some stats have stuck to their guns. I don't really want to talk about rumors a whole lot with VR because the Meta Connect conference is, I think, tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be the big focus of my episode next week. But I've got a little bit of VR. Valve has suddenly released Steam VR 2.0 in their beta. Rumors, I know I said I don't really want to talk about rumors with Meta, but that's because the Quest 3 is so close. But I'll talk about it with this. Valve has had, there have been some rumors with Valve that they're going to release their standalone VR headset, and it looks like they're preparing hard. Now, Valve is the makers of Steam, a very, very, very big social media and game community where you can buy games, play them with friends, talk with people. It's virtually essential if you're a video gamer that has a PC. I've been on the platform since a decade at least. And Steam VR 2.0 has now been put into beta. Some features that have been included along with a revamped UI. Most of the current features of Steam and the Valve's handheld, the Steam Deck, are now part of Steam VR. An updated keyboard with new support for languages, new languages, emojis, and themes. Integration of Steam Chat and voice chat. Someone that has a VR headset and has used Steam VR before, I will say that there have been a lot of restrictions with Steam in Steam VR, virtual reality, that I'm glad it looks like they're being looked at now. If they're going to revamp it, might as well, make it a lot easier to stay in VR rather than jump in and out every now and then. Especially because that's Meta's ambition with Horizon Worlds. Now Valve wants to join in a little bit, especially because they may introduce a standalone or at least a new VR headset. They haven't in a few years, and I guess it's time. And also an improved store that puts new and popular VR releases front and center. They'll likely continue to add things, as they say. This is just the beginning of Steam VR 2.0's journey. We'll have more to share in the coming weeks and months. And it is a beta, so you'll have to jump into it. There's instructions. You can definitely do your research into that if you are into that. And from the screenshots I'm looking at, yeah, it definitely looks more ambitious. It looks more feature complete. And one person on X has said that the VR client had a big update. And one interesting thing is that it now includes battery information for some sort of standalone HMD thing, which would be a VR headset pretty much. So that whole rumor on a standalone VR headset coming soon from Valve looks stronger than ever. And when will it release? Probably when Steam VR 2.0 comes around. Pretty excited stuff for there. Alrighty. And hey, I'm doing good on time because that was all the topics I wanted to cover except for futurology. You know you love it, and I gotta cover it every week because I have been. Let's go. The United States is planning its first fusion plant, possibly able to generate pollution-free power by 2035. Nuclear fusion is a breakthrough technology, and fusion plants can generate more energy than fission plants, producing less radioactive waste. It's not cost-effective, but it looks like, currently at least, but it looks like it can produce pollution-free power. And if it can become more efficient and cheaper to manufacture, this could be something pretty big to look into in the coming years. Being able to produce energy without harming the environment, always a fantastic thing. So I just wanted to put this out there because maybe this isn't something many people know about. Last year, successful nuclear fusion was first achieved by researchers last December in a major breakthrough after decades of work. August this year, they reproduced the results with an even higher energy surplus than before. So it's still got a few obstacles, but it does look like this could be a big deal and something to keep an eye on. You never know. Nuclear fusion could be huge. It might not be, but it looks like it's heading to some good journeys ahead. Now that'll be it for me. One final thing that I wanted to say is if you do live in the United States, starting earlier this week, you can now order free rapid COVID-19 tests. It's always important to make sure if you are sick or not, that maybe it's COVID, maybe it's not. But, better safe than sorry. Well, the free COVID test from the government in the U.S. has returned. I ordered some of my own. This was last canceled in May, and they've returned to doing it. Orders will start shipping the week of October 2nd. Pretty important stuff. And, it's always better safe than sorry to have these sort of tests coming around, as COVID-19 is still a pretty big problem internationally. So, especially with possible peaks coming up. So, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. And on that note, definitely, if you are one to get vaccinations, you should probably look into that. It's now around that time of the season, flu shots and whatnot. So definitely start preparing for that if you are interested. And that'll be it for me. A lot has happened, but I'm trying to condense things down. It looks like that is something I'm being successful toward. And I will, I got a lot of stuff to look into for the next week. MetaConnect being one big example. And if there's always something you want me to cover or look into, just let me know. I got one request to cover Overwatch esports and esports in general. I will say I was a little light on video game news. I wasn't sure if I wanted to cover esports in general. Wasn't fully prepared, but I think I'll do that along with whatever happens with meta, and the strike. If the ratifying vote goes through early, think it was October 2nd to 9th, so maybe some details will come out, but otherwise, that'll be it for me. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. I deeply appreciate it. This has been Jason Griwa signing off. Hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are, however you are. Thank you one more time. I will catch you around later. Take care of yourselves and have a good one. Peace.